Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Crimson Raven, and welcome back to Darkest Dungeon in the modded Heroes Estate. And at the end of the last video, if you guys haven't watched it yet, go right on ahead. We got a whole lot of possible recruits, and I thought it might be time for a bit of a showcase of the modded classes I currently have, as well as the ones I could get, the synergies we could have. You know, do a bit of theory crafting here, because it's a thing that doesn't require me to use my hand. So I'm not gonna go on a run for this video. I'm just gonna be theory crafting with you guys and, you know, throwing stuff. Now, I just drafted a pit fighter, Mr. Bordel here, which, incidentally, could be translated to, you know, because it's French, and it could either just mean a mess, you know, a clusterfuck, which I do think was the point, but then again, it actually is a direct translation to the word brothel as well, which I find funny. Anyways, the pit fighter is very much a frontliner, which I needed quite badly. But yeah, he's a frontline master. 30 HP at level 0. So fairly tanky, although not a beast, but pretty tanky. Oh look, yeah, the Marsh is at 40, but he's a freaking monster. And yeah, so fairly tanky, not very fast. 8 to 11 damage base is actually quite... It's actually quite strong. He's got a lot of damage, and not a lot of range of it in his damage, which means that it's reliable damage. And he also has a fair amount of movement abilities. He's got Yamum, so he makes a Yamum joke at somebody. It buffs the target, but it debuffs the target as well. Reduces speed, accuracy, and protections with 100% base, which is huge. But it gives them an extra 20% damage. Well, you know, for if you do that on like stress attackers, that's pretty viable. And you kind of want to pull stress attackers to the front. They tend to be at the back, and tend to not be very good at the front. So that's pretty good. He's got the dash in, which is ridiculously strong, actually. Forward 2, debuff target, less accuracy, and a huge buff to himself. And the forward 2, like, I'm seeing this skill, and this guy has Dance of Death written all over him. And I freaking love it. He's also got a fair amount of stuns. Like the headbutt, the jawbreaker, the stun, in the kisser. And he also has... what is it? The headbutt does more damage against bleeding, but it does have a chance to stun himself. The jawbreaker also can stun a knockback and does 20% crit versus stunned. Holy shit. Okay, so I needed another stun on the team, and that actually does an extra 25% damage against stunned with a speed debuff. So he's powerful as fuck and a very strong frontliner. I freaking love him. We also got Stanley the Shinobi that we recruited not in the last video, but the one before. And he feels an awful amount like some kind of jester or grave robber. For once, compared to a lot of the other modded classes, his accuracy isn't complete shit. He does have a fair amount of skills at like 90 accuracy. 85 is the lowest he's got, so he's actually a viable, relatively reliable damage dealer. Although from 5 to 10, it's a pretty big range for level 0. And what else? Bleeds. He's got a 5% base crit too. Plus another 5% here, another 5% here. So he's a crit machine. Yeah, this guy is a crit machine. He also has Chakra, Cure Blight and Blade buff, and a huge heal. Heal 6 at level 0? That's gigantic. Okay, but he doesn't... Does he have a stun? He's got a bleed. Very strong against marked. So he can mark and then Shadow Slash. 90% damage against mark. That is huge. So for a mark comp, this guy is gonna be a fucking boss killer if I've ever seen any. Especially since I've got a couple of other people with marks, don't I? Botan had a mark, that's for sure. If not 2. Yeah, she had one, but it was on herself, so I was wrong here. But yeah, no, the Shinobi's very, very strong. He has this mark with the Shadow Slash, and I believe Gina does he does a lot of damage against mark as well. Our Baron. My command and everything. Okay, no, Stanley's gonna be pretty valuable. Probably want to try to level him up pretty quickly. And then we have to take a look at everyone that we could draft. Because technically we're 9 out of 12 right now. And I'm looking to bring it up to 11. I'm going to recruit 2 more people right now. And, oh, another thing about Stanley. He's not completely useless with traps. He's okay. I really don't have a lot of people who are good with traps right now. No, at the 45, that is awful. So yeah, no, traps are going to be a factor here that I'm going to want to check in. So let's do it. We got Ruka, the rogue. Also decent with traps, clearly based on the Arbalest. That's a back 2. Okay. So she could definitely be part of a marked composition. Manning the back with Baron. She does have a heal, the Battlefield Bandage, exactly the same one as the Arbalest, so an off healer, but she could stack it up. Doesn't Gino have a heal? He also has a mark. I should probably equip that at some point. And even the Boom Bitch also, he marks himself though, but it does a lot of damage. Okay, so there's possibilities for a really powerful mark comp here with Stanley and Gino and Rocca. And even with Baldell, I mean, that man can stun and hit like a goddamn truck. Stone Curse, that's a stun. Debuff self. High damage, but debuff self. That's a mark. That's a bleed. Hidden blade. And then the teleport back to with another stun and a buff. That's basically Shadow Fade. That's basically Shadow Fade, except she goes back 2 instead of 1. With the dodge buff and everything. Chain Lightning 1. Hits the front 2 for less damage. Okay, so she's quite strong and probably a boss killer. Very likely a boss killer and also decent with traps. Like, I could see her and Stanley doing gigantic amount of damage together. So she's in the to consider pile for sure. Then we have Prestcoat, the Court Magus, who Rock and Ryan told me in the comments of the last video that the Court Magus is actually ridiculously strong. And that I should really look into it. Let's see. Flame Daggers hit the front 2. Less damage, but plus damage against Unholy. Frozen Dagger, same thing, except against Eldritch. And she's most definitely a crit machine. Low accuracy, but if she hits like a truck. Runic Aura. So that's a buff. That's a buff self. Right? Cure Blight and Bleed. Buff damage, buff accuracy. Buff damage against Unholy, buff damage against Eldritch. So that's a setup. Okay. Guiltiest Charge. Forward 1. With a stun. High crit chance, high stun chance, debuff self. Objection is a riposte for more damage against humans. Okay, so the Court Magus, you really have to basically know which type of enemies you're more likely to encounter in each zone. And adapt your kit to that. So the Court Magus is actually quite strong, but she has to be like the centerpiece of your team comp. You have to build around her. Because depending on the skills you get, she might not be in the same place, and the combos are not going to be the same. The Relax Boys, I would probably never use, because a self-mark is so fucking dangerous. Nah. That's a no-go. But the other 7 skills, there's a lot of potential there. Back 1 shuffle, the debuff, but for the stun it could be worth it. Forward 1 debuff. So I could do like a Hellion type of setup where I just buy a shit ton of medicinal herbs. And keep going forward and back, just stunning everything. Frozen Dagger, Flame Daggers. Okay, yeah. So she's really... I was about to say situational, but she has tools for pretty much every situation. It's just that, yeah, you really have to think about the skills you're going to bring in. Or not be afraid to adapt mid-run. But otherwise, a pretty strong pick. Although I do not see a whole lot of synergy between her and a lot of the others that I have right now. And she doesn't have any damage over time capabilities. She has stuns, but her stuns mean she takes a massive debuff, so I'm not sure I'd go for that either. Unless it was really needed. She does have the Unspeakable Commune as a survival skill, which is very strong. Okay, she's got the Occultist camping skills. Which is, you know, like removing mortality debuffs from a target is ridiculously strong. It's just it's always about trade-offs. Okay. So definitely one to consider. Although I'm not sure of her possible synergies here with the roster that I currently have. I also have to make sure, like, I don't know who's religious in there. And Nomash does not do well with religious people at all. And right now, I've already got Full A and Toneville who both are religious. And just don't want to go with this guy. But I do have Baldel as another possible frontliner. Okay, Paladin. A knight. Oh, tough as nails. 33 HP to start with. She tanky. Very slow. But very tanky. Strike of Light. Okay, so she's very strong in the ruins just for that. Cleanse and Strike. Again, more damage against Unholy. More damage against... Okay, she's an Unholy killing machine. And she has some healing. And a buff. Lay on Hands and Divine Strength. So she could be used as a pure freaking healer, considering her focus to be so strong against Unholy. I strongly suspect that she's religious. Plus she's based on the Crusader, which makes me suspect it even more. But as strong as she is, and she's a pretty good healer, I do think that her use is really to really pull the maximum out of this out of her skill set. I would have to use her in the ruins pretty much all the time. That's a bit too limiting for my taste, so I don't think I'm going to take Macy. We got Kuma, the Valkyrie. What a color set. Holy shit. Okay. She is useless with traps. Absolutely useless with traps. She has balance and a clutch hitter and a front line. More damage against Unholy. Unholy damage again. Clear corpses. Okay, she only has 2 attacks against Unholies. She can drain people. Oh, that is very strong. That's 6 points of bleeding and a heal for 3 at level 1 on a level 1 skill. And she's got a party heal that she can get off from the front. Which means that if I do get a party without a proper backline healer, she's in. She's basically my dedicated frontliner for that. The Holy Word, strong stun, and she gets debuffed. Forward dash, that's breakthrough. That's basically breakthrough. With awful accuracy, but it's breakthrough. You go forward 1, you hit 3 people, get less damage, less dodge. for the gods. Which mod? Enemy party, clear all corpses. Cure blight and bleed. More damage, more accuracy. So she could... The dodge hit is really what would be killing her. And she doesn't have that much HP. So getting that dodge penalty is actually pretty freaking bad for her. But it's Cure Blight and Bleed on herself. It clears corpses. And she has that frontline heal. And a possible stress relief at the same... This is... Breath of Odin is ridiculously strong. I don't think she's religious. Although Valkyries... I mean, I don't know my Norse lore all that well. I don't think Valkyries were known to be particularly zealous, but that is extremely strong. That would be another very, very strong frontline addition to my roster. I don't know if I'm going to take her just yet, but she's high up the list. Probably the most likely of all four right now. Let's see what we got down here. We got two more people we can check out. We got a Shadow Dancer, as well as a Lord. So Shadow Dancer, model is clearly based on the Plague Doctor. Skill set seems based on the Grave Robber. Forward 1 and a... Oh man. 3 for 3? At level 1? That is a ridiculously strong bleed. That's 9 points of damage right there, plus the damage it caused on the attack itself. Her base damage is quite low. And she is squishy as all hell. She is very strong with traps, though. She would be the strongest I have on the roster if I take her. Okay. Sneak attack. More bleeding. And extra damage against marked. She does eat a pretty significant debuff for that. Hide in plain sight. Goes back 2. And gets a speed buff for it. Debuff target. Minus 10 accuracy on the whole enemy party. So there's this Jester skill called Solo, which was an accuracy debuff on the whole enemy party, but it would bring him to the front, which means that basically if you use that on the Jester, you gotta be willing to take the risk of taking some pretty bad damage on a very, very squishy character, because it would bring him all the way to the front. Now in this case, and it's plus 5 speed, I'd probably start with that on every single fight. It's no damage, but it's a speed buff on herself and a minus 10 accuracy on the whole enemy party. That's huge! And she's got Uncanny Dodge, which also brings her back 1 with a stun. And she can throw it from the very back. So she could just stay at the back and keep stunning people. She even has a heal and a Shadow Pounce. For another oh man, that crit. 8% crit on that. With another, like, 9-point bleed. So she's a proper backline damage dealer, grave robber style, which I don't have a lot on the lineup right now. I really don't have a lot of those right now. Like, Foley can deal some damage, but not all that much. I need to unlock her heal. And she also has that stun. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. Really need to... I've been using her as a damage dealer so far, but I'm probably going to turn her into a lot more of a healer from now on. Castillo. Okay, yeah. So Castillo is coming in. I need backline damage dealers. Right now, it's her and Stanley, and that's pretty much it. And Gina. Gina's actually pretty strong from the back. The sniper shot. Okay. Now, we got the Lord. Finally. Another character based on the model of the Plague Doctor. Royal Blade. Okay, that's a small bleed. With a pretty high crit chance for a level 1. It's a 3-point bleed. But, you know, with a 7% crit chance, it's actually pretty strong. A heal. 5 and 5. That's pretty strong. Does it scale? I don't know. Stand your ground, so that's a buff. Protect me, a force protect. Okay. Stress heal. Lordly stature. That's a stun. And the Ray of Frost. Strong. Oh man, 30% damage debuff on the whole enemy party. That is probably the strongest healer I've encountered so far. Healer slash debuffer. And a stun. Oh, although the stun is only from the front. But he's got stress relief too. From the back. Like, even if I don't take the Royal Blade, or the Stand Your Ground, I'd probably play him in third. So, have the Blade, the heal, the stress heal, and the Ray of Frost. And just debuff enemies to hell. And 87% death blow resist. So very squishy, very low HP, but quite fast and actually quite hard to kill. Very shitty resistances though. He's gonna get affected by everything. Very tempting. Very, very, very tempting. Okay, let's compile what we have right now. Ryan can heal. In terms of healers, what do we have? We actually have a lot of healers already. Because technically Foley can heal. As long as I, you know, unlock the skills and everything. She's squishy as all hell. And doesn't do a lot of damage and is quite slow. But she is hard to kill. Is currently sick with the egg. Force guard, standard. She actually has a fairly similar kit. Except, you know, the fireball has horrible accuracy. And otherwise it's just a royal scepter. She's got a stun. So, a good, strong support character. Tornable. Searing Light, Torch, damage versus Unholy, another stun, a heal. Damage versus Unholy again, Dance of Light, Scream Queen, and the Royal Decree. She's alright. Plus 10% quirk. And she's a Klepto. But she's level 1. Okay. Philnivelle can heal, but it's a pretty shitty heal if I remember it right. It's like a party heal for 1 to 3. Yeah. So more of a support kind of healing. More like a secondary healing kind of thing. Acorn bark. So I've got a lot of healers already. 1, 2, 3 if I count Ryan. That's also a heal. Although a minor one. He clearly doesn't heal. He heals himself. And a pretty strong one if I remember it right. 3. Yeah, no, it's not bad. Brave Buff does not have a heal at all. Yeah. So I don't think I need another healer per se. As much as I love the Lord's Kit. That debuff though. That debuff is so ridiculously strong. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to take a decision here. The Lord is coming in. That debuff is what is doing it all for me. The Lord's coming in. But you're freaking people out. And your Death Shade is fucking useless. It's horrible. It is so bad. It does a lot of damage, but you eat so much debuff from it that it's fucking useless. And I hate it completely. You know what? No Marsh, you're out.
The task ahead
You're
is
out.
terrible.
You're completely out. I don't want you in here anymore.
Tolerated.
I do need another frontliner to replace you, though. And I think I'm going to take the Valkyrie. Strong bleed and a heal. Corpse and the Breath of Odin. She is, yeah. That stress heal and a party heal and oh man, yeah, she's a bruiser. Valkyrie's coming in. And I'm going to leave the last spot open in order to... I'm going to leave that last spot open in order to be able to draft outside help if needed. 99% of the time, it's probably going to be an antiquarian. You know, a way to get money. Which I really don't have a lot of right now. But I think that our lineup is looking quite good right now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm going to wrap it up right here. And let me know what you think about the decisions that I've made for the roster. And for those who did give me feedback, including Rock and Ryan and maybe a couple of others, because I know that it's going to be a few days between the moment I'm recording this and the moment the video comes out. Thank you guys so much for your feedback, but this is what I've decided to do with it. If you guys want to be any of these characters, except for Ryan, who's already chosen his, make sure to let me know. Comments below, Discord, whatever other way, me even Twitter, I don't care. Just find a way to reach me and tell me. And also make sure to sign up for the monthly giveaway. At the moment the video comes out, I do believe that today, as in the day this video comes out, will be the very last day to register for the giveaway for Prison Architect. Let me just check the date to make sure. June 1st is on Thursday. This video is coming out on Wednesday. So yes, it will be the very last day. You can register for the monthly giveaway, linked down below, to possibly gain a key for Prison Architect. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Crimson Raven. I'll see you soon.